Bafsin Green Construction and Trading Abama Ghana for. Say Juma Kwedu and Juma Fatason. And to say your hotel, school, hospital, bank, offices, and the Westy. Now Pobiam and to Mutas amount there. And then I make come for Bafsin Green Construction and Trading at the amount. Obuan was in down.
The Punch TV. Adolfo no mama makwa baba ye the Punch TV so make sure say any day di kan na dey hwe channel ya na che say obe subscribe dey ama ye no like no share we so abegya wadwenche e comment section ho enso e dey aka ye ho abusuafo say wa onim say the Punch TV dey ba na current stories ne political affairs bia say the Punch TV dey dem ba kope abusuafo say amle america say story bi flow so abebo for mama che say apai ama che say gentle ha obi e twene sere ne abasa abusuafo mma yenko hwe story ne mra ye ba ye de mu nchire mu nyina ebe
same question going forward.
Well, thank you, Alfred. Let me give you a very simple example. I have never seen any coach who is actually going to play a football match with even the biggest teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and would say that we're going to be scored. Nobody does that. I mean, then how do you expect your followers, your supporters to follow you to the stadium, to support? So it's natural. I mean, the responses from the political parties are natural, all right? Because do you want them to throw their hands in the air and say, we've lost the election? It's never going to happen. They have to pump up their base. They have to energize their base, all right? And so the natural, response that I expect a political party, be it NPP, NDC, CPP, PNC, all right, is to say that, well, this is not a true reflection. All right. So as a pollster, I've done polls myself, even as academic. All right. You're going to send a paper and the reviewer is going to punch holes in it. And you're going to accept it. You have to accept that, holes and then ask yourself whether indeed you have to change it or you have to maintain your position and send them a response and say, no, I think this is right because A, B, C, D, E. All right. So it's a natural reflection of the game that an opposition party and a ruling party will reject a verdict that says if elections were to be held today, they're going to lose. So it's a natural reflection. Now, my problem, though, is the way that they try to bastardize, all right, the practice. Remember, in a consolidated democracy, all these things are supposed to be there. You're supposed to have media analysis. You're supposed to have polls. You're supposed to have rallies. You're supposed to have all these things are activities of politics within a political system, a very functional political system. So in our attempt to debunk so that we can energize our base, let us not try to paint it in a manner that people would, because what we do as leaders is what the people actually watch, all right, and then they follow. So for me, I always say that if you have any criticisms for things like that, don't do it in a manner that people would, have no confidence in it. And then, of course, you destroy the system, all right? We must encourage it. And I really, really like it because, look, over the period, we had Uncle Ben who's been doing it, And then, of course, at some point, we came in with the IPO. And then Musa came in with this one. And it's been consistent. Do you know how much it cost to do this? It's a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of commitment, all right? But the expectation of the people is crucial. People want to know. People want to have a feel of, hey, how is it going to happen, in December? And that's why we do these polls. The polls, the purposes for the polls, so many, for different, stakeholders. I've had, companies, those days when I was doing IPO, I had companies from England that would actually send me an email to ask about the pulse of the people, all right? Because they want to make an investment decision. Because they want to, even with tourism, people want to come into the country at certain places. So there are quite a number of stakeholders who actually rely on these information, for their purposes. It's not only for politicians,
Indeed.
All right? So when we're actually speaking about them, we have to be mindful. And my problem is that you hear polls from organizations like Outcome International. Go and check who is Outcome International. There is none. There's no such viable or credible institution. Yet you have NPP, leaders who would actually hold on to such polls and speak highly of it because a certain outcome international says Bawumia will win. And you have Musa Dankwa, who is actually here, who has published the methodology.
But
has
what is
published,
outcome international?
I don't even know. They did a poll and put Bawumia winning. I don't know. Honorable, I hope you saw that poll. All right. They didn't publish the methodology. They didn't publish their questions. They just said that Bawumia is winning by some 50-something%. And they were speaking about it. They were speaking on radio. I mean, respectable platforms published it. All right. And they were happy with that. You have someone who had actually published a poll and published the methodology, published the the questions for transparency's sake, and then for perhaps repetition if somebody wants to do that. To some point, I mean, we even publish the data itself that people can actually use it to analyze. I remember there was a time we published the data and Franklin called me and I said, oh, the data is online. You can actually get the data. And he was like, wow, really? Because some polls and most polls don't even publish their data.
Bafsin Green Construction and Trading Abama Ghana for. Say Jumakwedu and Juma Fatason. And to say your hotel, school, hospital, bank, offices, and the Westy. Now Pobiam and to Mutas amount there. And then I make count for Bafsin Green Construction and Trading at the amount. Obuan was in down a won't you. Emane ha crampo, and posabro train hour. No, so West Sufia or Ghana now Pobiam and to Mutas amount there. And then I make count for Bafsin Green Construction and Trading at the amount. The Yanni so benny muji dear. Your 2 bathroom tiles, compound tiles, swimming pool tiles, kitchen tiles, and in Yakaka. Then it is summer woman said, so pass Seattle. Now do location Maya. Then Yan say Ghana, ye benya be the amount. Na yan juicy candy, yan dada, said Uncle for be the young crofobino. A sunset task would you make any dintino, yet on cement, natural stones, tile cement, slabs, marble tiles, and nobody lay a sign so a supply. A sancy of Juma Hotel, not swear need to know. Ye were abiding cracks are a certificate, a treasure your fat entity. Obetini a friend whom a true for so 0505 62 68 23 0505 62 68 23. Oba we breaku, Waja, adequate winning by quantum pona so. Bafsin Green Construction and Trading. We do it just the way you love it.
All right. Yet you have the politicians bastardizing it. And when they talk about, oh, we have a problem with the methodology, which part of the methodology do you have a problem with? And they're not saying anything. So for me, I think that we have to be mindful that these are systems that we need to build. In fact, we need to encourage a lot of people to publish, to do polls. Maybe people can come and learn from Musa how to do polls. Because the political party, when they do their polls, they're not going to publish it because it's for their use, all right? But polls like Musa's would be for public consumption. So we need quite a lot of people to go into such practice so that at least we can have variation within our political system. We shouldn't actually...
but for political marketing purpose, 8 months you would say, obviously, it's not long enough.
Of course, but you see, in political marketing or political communication, we have what we call intensity, all right? Now, you realize that towards the elections, you're going to have quite a lot of activities. Even you're going to change your programming. You're going to have more time for politics other than agric or social issues, all right? So that level of intensity heightens the interest of people. So those who are even saying they're not going to vote, they're likely to change their minds because of the level of intensity, all right? Now, you're going to have political songs developed. And in our system, it's very funny, but look, some songs, political songs, can change somebody's intention, to vote.
The campaign songs.
The campaign songs. I'm telling you. And Honorable was talking about if you interview somebody today, he's not going to vote for them. Tomorrow he's going to vote. People, inducement, all right? Even a call from a brother from the US or UK to say, you have to vote this way, will change their minds of voting. So there are quite a lot of interventions, quite a lot of things that will get people to the polls. Most of the time, we get people, we are not going to vote. By the time we finish the election, we are like 83%. All right. Unlike in the UK or elsewhere, where turnout is like 34%, whatever, because people aren't bothered. All right. But in our situation, our conditions are such that people become disappointed. But towards the election period, they realize, if I don't go to the polls, X person is going to win, and I don't want them to win, all right? They rush there. They're getting calls from relatives to say, you have to vote. They're getting these, inducement, political songs, people are chanting, people are going on, floats, etc. It charges the atmosphere. And so it takes away that apathy level. Of course, when it comes to apathy, which usually comes from the ruling side, because usually they've put their faith in the administration.
Yeah, and we saw that reflected.
Exactly. They're giving you, a resounding victory, like what happened to NDC in 2016. The apathy from voter was massive. And usually, when you have prominent people speaking into it, it then energizes. You see, sometimes the ordinary voter might take a decision, they are not sure, whether that decision is correct. They look at, figures, public figures, and their position. And I think that, and I must say this, when in 2016, the chief, Tugbe Afede, spoke about the NDC situation when they said that, they have done little. That nailed the apathy. Because people are listening to certain public figures, certain prominent personalities, and thinking, what I'm thinking, is that right? Are they also thinking the same? So when they speak to it, it nails it. And that's why Alan Chamansin's exit, all right, and certain prominent people in Ashanti region speaking against the government can actually deepen the apathy and then get people.
But the NPP has been very consistent that Alan Chamantin is very insignificant to the fortunes of the party going into the elections. And well, it's interesting the outcome of the poll, because that's to the contrary.
That's for the public, but for them, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised that there's a conversations going
about Alan Chamantin and
of course,
the impact of his exit.
They appreciate the enormity of his exit. In the public, and I said to you, there is no way very, very, a good politician will come out to say that, Alan's exit would affect us. No. I mean, when they love their party, they won't do that, all right? They would say all that they want to say, although sometimes some of the language is not palatable. I wish they could say it differently for people not to really take it negatively. But the impact is huge, and they recognize the impact. In public, they will not admit it, and they will say, it's not going to have any impact. Of course, barring the insult and all those unsavory remarks, I want to believe that it is the right thing to do in politics, because you do not want your base to be disappointed. And so you always have to rally them around and say he won't have any impact. But definitely they know that he's having impact on them.
And does Alan Chamantin's exit give you sleepless nights, or it's not going to cause any issues for you?
Well, I think that in politics, every addition or subtraction means something. Even he as an individual exiting means something to the party.
But you have maintained that he's,
but of course,
insignificant.
Oh, of course, once you lose a vote or an influencer in your party, you take steps to see how you can reduce the effect of that influencer.
Abusiafo story no na yakohwe de aban na chese ensem koso Ghana ha ensem koso krom ha chese de hia se obenya o data na obeba ententan so abusiafo chese ubetimi asre a ubetimi adwa wani betimi agya na chese social media no so de o so bia etimi eba so se de nkofo ka se digital no nyen blaso na eso enche me a me di dwumadi ho chia me frame nana agman wo mi so na frame ny ja meje so na mama piao peace out
yama owi akwa baba Mansa Media College. Mansa Media College a school power ya che TV so any radio so dwumadie ya so ye e wo Kumase atonsu ba bia wo bia o pese ba Mansa Media College na be hu dwumadie yedi ni honmo a yentie dwumadia yedi no Mansa Media College.
Say usua bribi wo media mu ana opese ohunu bibi biara efa media ho enso eche kra
Amansan Media College e wo homa
ye wa achochefo a wakwadire yie wa adetwemu na in studio ni ye newsroom de editwam wonsam twemu no ye kire bibi te se kasebo akenkan ni sinitwa ni bebura ekeka ho wa multimedia mu nso ye kire bibi te se sini mfoni asiesie mfoni nitwa ni bebura ekeka ho ye betumi nso aboa ama wo de na otwepe asunya biribi wo nkitahodie adwuma ahodo nyinaa mu esan se ye wo yankasa foni nti abwe biara ye ma ya adesuafo kwan ma okọ yode ya twerɛ won adesua dan mu no
ahwefo ehu ekame ese obi biara wo le bosomtwe ase enim abakosema efa nsuo yi ho menya abofra ketewa bi wo ha ono so se onim abakosema efa le bosomtwe ho
abusuafo ye mama kwaba eba Ghana Pages TV so emra so se the trending issues ne ekoso ewo abefo tentan fidie ni so ebesomo midin na naje wa akode
Amansan Media College e ma wo de wo hia bia wo nkutahodie mu